So my name is Jody Schwarstrick, and today I'm going to be talking about utilitarianism and deontology. So first I'm going to be talking about utilitarianism, and this theory is an ethical theory that judges the morality of an action based on its consequences. So to kind of understand that a little bit better, it gives the main idea of choosing an option that will overall increase the happiness of whoever's involved in the situation. So the way that I like to look at this is in a sense of where you're giving. I personally believe that it's better to give to 5 people versus only 2 people if there were 5 in a group. The theory that maximizes the overall happiness and outcome better of the situation at hand. Okay, so next is deontology, and deontology is an ethical theory that judges the morality of an action based on rules, duties, or obligations regardless of the consequences. So to me, this really just means following our moral values and duties even if it could lead to a worse outcome. So now that you know what those 2 ideologies mean, let's talk about why these 2 different thought processes clash with each other and why do so many people have a hard time choosing between them. So when I was first learning the differences between these 2 thought processes and approaches, I was having a really hard time distinguishing them both and remembering which one was which and understanding which one I truly resonated with. And my brain kind of wanted to go with whatever sounded formally right in a situation, whichever would be the most beneficiary. So with that already moral coming out of my mind, I initially believed I was focused on a utilitarianism ideology until I started to hear more examples of both. So the first example I heard about was a train that was headed towards 5 people on a track, but you had the option to switch it to another train track. The only thing is that there's 1 person on this train track, so when you look at the overview, you have the choice of letting the train go on its course and ultimately killing 5 people, or if you're going to intentionally go and pull the lever, killing somebody and only killing 1 versus killing 5. So while I was reading my ethics book in my class, I started to understand a little bit more about the approaches and the different perspectives that came with them. So one of those perspectives was, what if in the situation where we have the train track, the 5 people are there, they're tied up, and the train is headed to them, and then that 1 other person is there, and in order to save the 5 people, you have to intentionally kill this 1 person. Initially, I thought, the maximum number is probably what I'd take in this scenario until someone asked me, well, what if that was a family member, a close relative, friend, like someone super, super important to you? Would you still pull the lever, intentionally killing that 1 person to still save the 5 other people? Or would you, at that point, let the train run its course? And I started to think about it more, and I started to understand the deontology a little bit more, because in specific situations, I would let that train run its course because, honestly, at the end of the day, if it was a family member, that's just how I would sign, that's how I believe. And it allows me to also go under the moral belief that killing is wrong, and because the train track is headed already in the direction of the 5 people, it would be killing someone by intentionally moving it because of that 1 person. So hearing that, it really made me take a moment and pause. I hadn't thought about this perspective in the context, which I ended up completely switching sides for. I still don't retract my sentences of thinking less bad is better, but in a personal situation, I truly choose not to switch a train track, whether that's someone super close to me. I also believe morally that we shouldn't kill, and intentionally switching the train track would intentionally kill someone. So how does this example tie back into the 2 concepts? A utilitarianism person would agree that, in fact, intentionally pulling the lever to switch the train would cause an overall better outcome because it changes from 5 people dying to only 1. And a deontology would ignore the factor of who is dying. Those who believe murder is wrong and shares this deontology thought process would say because altering the course of the train to kill someone is morally incorrect, they would simply not interact with the train course even though it kills 5 other people. The reason that people begin to question deontology is when it allows someone to realize, even though it might be only 1 person dying in comparison to 5, that 1 person could be anyone, and then it challenges us internally to choose it's morally wrong to kill in scenarios such as that. I personally choose a deontology perspective purely from this example because in the case where this was a situation I had control over, I would go with what is morally correct. This video about deontology and utilitarianism, as much as I did, this was truly one of my favorite concepts to learn about, just because mainly it is so interesting. I think personally for me, because it really made me sit down and think about both sides, because I'm truly someone who believes that I want to maximize people's happiness as much as I can, and in any way to do so, but then at the end of the day, the deontology approach challenges my internal, what if it was my mother's situation, what if it was his close friend situation, would I still kill them for 5 people I don't have a relationship with? So it really challenged some inner thoughts I had, but I think that overall made me really understand and enjoy it more enough to be able to talk about it and really understand it. So I hope you guys learned something from this video.